this because he has never once, never cautioned his followers to abstain from making threats and otherwise attack his targets. He wants to put people in fear for their lives by having his followers do his dirty work. So, Omar, the job of a trial judge is to ensure a fair trial for both sides and to manage the courtroom to ensure law and order. So when you have a disruptor like Donald Trump, judges have tools to rein them in. They have warnings, you got fines, you got gag orders, you got incarceration. And warnings and fines haven't worked with Trump. So, when I think about what Donald Trump is doing, it's akin to something I read in a very famous book called Please Don't Eat the Daisies, written by Jean Curd. She's a wonderful humorist and author. And she describes an incident in the book that gave the title to the book, where she tells her children things that not to do at her dinner party. However, after seeing only a few stems sticking out of the table centerpiece, she realized she neglected to include in her do not rules that they should not eat the daisies. And Trump, just like a child, has to be told what he cannot do, no matter how obvious. Like, you don't threaten people. You don't threaten judges. You don't threaten family members. So Judge Merchan, I believe, should immediately expand the gag order to include himself and his family members and include D.A. Bragg and his family members. I tell you, I fail to understand why judges do not include themselves and their family members in these gag orders. They haven't done so. Their lives and the lives of their families have been subjected to death threats, all because of Donald Trump's words. And that kind of speech is not protected by the First Amendment. So,
and what happens, just to throw this in there, what happens when Trump breaks that gag order on Truth Social or otherwise?
Right. And you said when and not if, and I think you're right, Omar. When he steps across that gag order line, and I do hope it will be expanded, there should be only one response. Bring your toothbrush, Donald Trump, because you're going to sit in a jail cell for a while. There has to be an immediate consequence when he defies a court order. That is a normal response. You cannot have a court system that is subjected to these kinds of threats and intimidation. Nowhere else has this ever happened and gone on without any consequences. And that has to change, and it has to change now.
Why do you think, because of course, as you're saying, someone breaks, it's simple. You break the law, you break a gag order, you go to jail, you get put in jail. Why do you think judges maybe have been a little more hesitant to this point to take a step as significant as that one?
Well, first of all, the judges, I think so far have done things appropriately. Warnings, fines, and they found that the conduct of Donald Trump has not changed. So the next is the gag order. In this instance, the gag order, if it's expanded, so far he has not violated that gag order, although he's tiptoeing very close to the line. A lot of people think that there's a double standard being extended to Donald Trump by the courts. And I can understand that because, when I was on the bench, there's no way anyone would carry on like this without more severe consequences. But I think now it's starting to sink into these judges that their lives, the family members are all at stake here in terms of the threats of violence and intimidation. So there is nothing left for them to do other than to go the next step. And I don't know what the mystique is or magic is about not putting Donald Trump in a jail cell so that he understands their immediate consequences for not behaving as a normal adult in the courtroom. So I don't know. I think now may be the time.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask as well, look, these are some of the most closely watched cases that we have in the country right now. And it's easy to say that what someone does in this case, including the former president, has an impact in regards to people's understandings of what's happening and for their understanding of what is permissible in the justice system. And a federal judge told CNN that Trump's attacks on this judge are a threat to the rule of law, and judges have a responsibility to speak up given the stakes. Do you agree with that? How do they balance managing their courtroom with also managing